Welcome to part 74 of the Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg, where we explore true crime, urban legends, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, internet mysteries, and more. Remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. The Disappearance of Jim Gray. Jim Gray, an eminent computer scientist and researcher, vanished under mysterious circumstances on January 28, 2007. He set sail from San Francisco to scatter his mother's ashes near the Farallon Islands, located roughly 27 miles off the coast of San Francisco. Despite the clear weather and calm sea conditions, Gray never returned, and neither he nor his 40-foot sailboat, the Tenacious, were ever found. Jim Gray was highly respected in his field, notably for his contributions to database technology and transaction processing, which earned him the Turing Award in 1998. His work had profound impacts across various high-tech industries, influencing everything from cash machines to online ticketing systems. The search for Gray turned into one of the most extensive maritime search and rescue operations in U.S. history. It spanned over 100,000 square miles and included efforts from the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard employed sophisticated technology and statistical methods to predict potential locations of his boat. They also conducted a conventional 4-day search using planes, helicopters, and boats, but found nothing. Despite these extensive efforts, no distress signals were received, and Gray's emergency beacon remained silent throughout. The search expanded with contributions from Silicon Valley and the global tech community, utilizing satellites and NASA aircraft to scan the ocean. On February 1, 2007, the Digital Globe satellite captured thousands of images over the area where Jim Gray disappeared. These images were uploaded to Amazon Mechanical Turk, where Gray's colleagues, friends, students, and computer scientists globally formed a group to analyze them for any signs. This phase of the search concluded on February 16th. An advanced underwater search continued until May 31st. On May 31st, 2008, a tribute to Jim Gray was held by the University of California, Berkeley, and his family. Microsoft, his employer, dedicated its worldwide telescope software to Gray and also established a research center in Madison, Wisconsin, named in his honor. The circumstances surrounding Gray's disappearance have fueled various theories, none of which have been substantiated by evidence. Accidental loss at sea is the prevailing theory, supported by the Coast Guard and search teams, that suggests that Gray may have encountered an unforeseen maritime accident. This could involve a sudden medical emergency, equipment failure, or a catastrophic event that led to him going overboard or his boat sinking. The lack of distress signals and the emergency beacon not being activated add complexity to this theory. Some speculate that technical malfunction, a failure of Gray's boat's navigation or communication systems, could have led to his disappearance. Given his expertise and the sophisticated equipment aboard the Tenacious, this theory considers the possibility that even the most advanced technology can fail under certain conditions. While less supported by evidence, some early speculation included the possibility that Gray might have chosen to disappear. This theory is largely discounted by those who knew him well, citing his strong family ties and the circumstances of his trip. Another less likely scenario discussed is that Gray could have encountered foul play or an accident involving another vessel. However, the absence of any wreckage, distress signals, or credible reports of other ships in the vicinity makes this theory weak. Overall, despite the extensive search efforts and the high-profile nature of the case, the exact details of what happened to Jim Gray remain unknown despite the passage of nearly 2 decades. He was declared legally deceased in 2012, and the investigation into his disappearance has now gone cold. The Cibu Manuscript, a 16th century document, found its way into public awareness when it was discovered in 1961 by Doru Todoriciu at the University of Bucharest. The manuscript, housed in the archives of Cibu, Romania, spans approximately 450 pages filled with pioneering concepts of rocketry, including multi-stage rockets and the use of liquid fuel. Authored by Konrad Haas, a German military engineer from the Transylvanian Saxon community, the manuscript dates back to between 1550 and 1570. Haas was not only a notable figure in the Austrian military arsenal, but also a visionary in rocket design. His designs are particularly notable for their incorporation of stages, a concept integral to all modern rocketry, and one that predates any other known records by several decades. Interestingly, Haas's manuscript includes detailed diagrams and descriptions that resonate with modern rocket technology, such as delta-shaped fins and bell-shaped nozzles. These elements play critical roles in the aerodynamics and propulsion mechanics of rockets. This advanced thinking is reflected in his recorded musings, where he expressed a preference for peace over warfare, a sentiment that underpins the dual nature of technological advancements. Theories and legends swirl around the actual testing and application of Haas's designs. While some historical indications suggest that Haas might have conducted rocket tests in Cibu around 1550, concrete documentary evidence remains elusive. The broader impact of his work was not fully recognized until the manuscript's rediscovery in the 20th century. The Cibu manuscript's descriptions of complex rockets predate, but also possibly inspired later European rocketry pioneers like Johann Schmidlapp in the later 16th century. Schmidlapp's advancements in staged rocketry, which he developed around 1590, are now often seen as derivative of the foundational concepts laid out by Haas. However, the full extent of Konrad Haas's influence on the development of rocketry is presently unknown, given that his works were lost and forgotten for 4 centuries. The Petrifying Well, also known as the Dropping Well, is located in Knaresborough, North Yorkshire. This unique geological formation has the ability to turn everyday objects into stone. The earliest documented reference to the Petrifying Well dates back to 1538, when John Leyland, an antiquary to Henry VIII, mentioned the well in his writings. Leyland described the well as a place where people believed in its miraculous healing powers, often drinking or showering under its waters. The well gained notoriety through its association with the legendary soothsayer Mother Shipton, born Ursula Southall in 1488. Born in a nearby cave, now known as Mother Shipton's Cave, she was rumored to be the daughter of a local woman and the devil, a claim that added to her sinister reputation. Her association with the well and its perceived magical properties only heightened the site's mysterious allure. According to folklore, Mother Shipton's prophecies included predictions of the Great Fire of London and the defeat of the Spanish Armada. In 1630, the well and the land around it were sold to Sir Charles Slingsby, Queen Elizabeth's courtier. He submerged his family's crest in the well, which petrified, becoming a stony testament to his visit. This event helped elevate the well's status, associating it with the royal court and increasing its allure among the nobility. Sir Charles Slingsby capitalized on its growing fame by charging visitors for tours, making it England's first paid visitor attraction. This move cemented the well's status as a must-see destination, a status it maintains to this day. According to modern understanding, the Petrifying Well's unique ability to petrify objects is not due to witchcraft or magic, but rather a natural geological process. The well's water is rich in minerals, particularly calcium carbonate and calcium sulfate. Researchers suggest that the water's high mineral saturation is due to its route through an extensive system of underground caverns, where it dissolves limestone before emerging at the well. When the water flows over objects, these minerals deposit a hard shell, similar to the formation of stalactites and stalagmites in caves. Remarkably, the petrification process can occur in just 3 to 5 months, depending on the object placed within. This rapid transformation has made the well a subject of scientific interest and a favorite spot for tourists to leave items like teddy bears, hats, and even bicycles. While the scientific explanation of the petrifying process is widely accepted, there have been numerous theories and speculations about the well's powers throughout history. In the past, locals believed the well was cursed or blessed by supernatural forces. Some thought it was a manifestation of the divine, serving as a form of protection or curse depending on the object or person involved. Another widely believed aspect of the well is its connection to healing and protective powers. For centuries, people believed that drinking or bathing in the well's waters could cure ailments and offer protection from evil. This belief is still fairly widely held today, with many believing mineral water imparts a variety of benefits. The disappearance of Frederick McDonald. Frederick McDonald was an Australian politician who mysteriously disappeared in 1926. He was a member of the New South Wales Legislative Assembly. Born in 1872, he worked as a schoolteacher before entering politics. McDonald represented the Labour Party and was known for his involvement in various political and social causes. On April 15, 1926, McDonald left his home in Balmain, Sydney, and was never seen again. His disappearance was sudden and unexpected, sparking a nationwide search and extensive media coverage. Despite numerous investigations, no conclusive evidence has ever been found to explain his disappearance. One of the most popular theories is that McDonald was a victim of foul play due to his political activities. It was a time of significant political tension, and McDonald had many rivals. But let's discuss a few other theories before we get further into this one, because trust me, it's going to get pretty wild. Another theory suggests that McDonald might have disappeared voluntarily due to personal issues. It was rumored that he had financial problems and personal disputes that could have led him to vanish to start a new life elsewhere. Some believe that McDonald might have perished accidentally, perhaps falling into the harbor or meeting with some mishap, with his body never being recovered. However, no evidence has ever been found to support this theory, and no remains have been discovered that could be linked to him. There is also a theory that McDonald could have been caught up in the activities of organized crime. During that period, there were significant criminal elements operating in Sydney, and it's possible that McDonald might have run afoul of such groups. However, by far the most interesting suggestion is that he was offed by the Member of Parliament who succeeded him in his seat. At the time of his disappearance, he was embroiled in a legal dispute with Thomas Lay over the results of a recent election. With McDonald out of the way, the legal dispute ceased. Notably, Thomas Lay was later committed to Broadmoor for a slaying in the UK. Lay is also suspected of having committed numerous other very literal attacks against his political opponents. Despite the passage of nearly a century, the case is still unsolved, and new theories continue to emerge. The disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa. On July 30th, 1975, Jimmy Hoffa, the former president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, vanished from a parking lot outside a restaurant in Bloomfield, Michigan. Jimmy Hoffa was a powerful and extremely controversial labor leader. Born in 1913 in Brazil, Indiana, he rose to prominence starting in the 1930s and became president of the Teamsters in 1957. Under his leadership, the union grew to over 2 million members, making it one of the most influential labor organizations in the United States. However, Hoffa's career was marred by his connections to organized crime. He was known for his relationships with mob figures, which eventually led to his conviction for jury tampering, fraud, and attempted bribery in 1967. After serving a few years in prison, Hoffa was released in 1971 on the condition that he refrained from union activities until 1980. On the day of his disappearance, Hoffa was reportedly set to meet with Anthony Provenzano, a Teamster official with alleged mafia ties, and Anthony Giacalone, a known Detroit mobster. Witnesses saw Hoffa waiting in the restaurant's parking lot and then getting into a car with several other men. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. In the absence of concrete evidence, numerous theories have emerged over the years about what happened to Hoffa. One popular theory, advanced by mob hitman Richard the Iceman Kuklinski, claims Hoffa was slain, placed in a steel drum, and buried in a New Jersey landfill. However, searches in the area have turned up no evidence to support this claim. Another theory suggests that Hoffa was ended by his close associate Frank Sheeran. Sheeran claimed in his memoir, I Heard You Paint Houses, that he picked up Hoffa, took him to a house in Detroit, and shot him. Investigations into this theory found traces of blood in the house, but DNA tests did not match Hoffa's blood type, which is disturbing in and of itself. Some theories are more outlandish and based heavily on rumors. One suggests Hoffa was buried under the Giants Stadium in New Jersey, but this was debunked when no human remains were found during the stadium's demolition in 2010. Another bizarre theory is that Hoffa was killed and his body fed to alligators in the Florida Everglades. In 2022, the FBI conducted a search of a New Jersey landfill for a steel drum allegedly containing Hoffa's remains. The FBI indicated that nothing of value was discovered, and the case continues to remain as cold as ever. Connie Converse was born in August 1924 in Laconia, New Hampshire. She was an early American singer-songwriter whose music remained largely unrecognized during her lifetime. Connie grew up in a highly intellectual, stimulating environment, excelling academically and earning a scholarship to Mount Holyoke College. However, she dropped out after 2 years and moved to New York City to pursue a career in music and writing. In New York, she immersed herself in the bohemian culture of Greenwich Village, where she wrote songs, poems, and essays, and learned to play the guitar. In the 1950s, Connie recorded a series of songs in the apartment of animator Gene Dietsch. These recordings, characterized by their intimate and introspective lyrics, are considered some of the earliest examples of the singer-songwriter genre. Despite her talent, Connie struggled to find a wider audience. She appeared on CBS's morning show hosted by Walter Cronkite, but this exposure did not lead to the commercial success she hoped for. By 1961, disillusioned with her lack of musical success, Connie left New York and moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan. There, she took up a position as managing editor at the Journal of Conflict Resolution at the University of Michigan. She continued to write music, but shifted her focus towards other creative endeavors and activism. During this period, she wrote memos and essays on social issues, demonstrating her intellectual depth and commitment to social causes. In August 1974, shortly after her 50th birthday, Connie sent farewell letters to her family and friends, indicating that she was seeking a new start. She packed her belongings into her Volkswagen Beetle and left Ann Arbor, never to be heard from again. Her departure was planned, as evidenced by the letters she left behind, which included instructions for her personal affairs. The mystery surrounding Connie's disappearance has led to numerous theories. Some speculate that she chose to live a secluded life under a new identity. Others believe she might have faced personal crises that prompted her departure. Despite various efforts, including hiring a private investigator, her family never found any concrete leads on her whereabouts. Decades after her disappearance, Connie's music resurfaced. In 2004, her song One by One was played on WNYC, catching the attention of new listeners. This led to the 2009 release of an album featuring 17 of her songs that garnered critical acclaim and sparked renewed interest in her life and work. Despite having been virtually unknown for decades, her Spotify alone now boasts almost 100,000 listeners every month. The Ever-Burning Lamps. The concept of ever-burning lamps, or eternal flames, fascinates with its historical, religious, and cultural significance across the world. These flames, whether fueled by natural gas, oil, or maintained through human intervention, have been kindled for centuries and are found across various cultures and religions worldwide. Eternal flames serve multiple symbolic purposes. In many traditions, they represent an undying light, continuity, and memory of significant events or figures. Throughout history, writers from different regions have recorded the existence of ever-burning lamps. For example, the ancient writer Plutarch describes a lamp that continuously burned above the entrance to the Temple of Ammon in Egypt, unaffected by wind or rain. The role of eternal flames is perhaps most famously associated with one of the oldest religions in the world, Zoroastrianism. Fire holds a profound significance in Zoroastrianism, symbolizing purity, truth, and the divine presence of Ahura Mazda. As one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, founded by the prophet Zoroaster in ancient Persia, Zoroastrianism venerates fire not as an object of worship, but as a sacred symbol representing light and wisdom. Fire is central to Zoroastrian rituals and temples, and all temples maintain a flame. These fire temples house an ever-burning flame meticulously maintained by priests. This eternal flame symbolizes the continuous presence of Ahura Mazda and the light of wisdom dispelling the darkness of ignorance and evil. In Judaism, an eternal light hangs in front of the Torah Ark in synagogues, symbolizing the menorah of the ancient temple in Jerusalem and the continuous divine presence. Numerous memorials around the world maintain eternal flames to honor those lost in conflicts, such as the well-known John F. Kennedy Eternal Flame at Arlington National Cemetery. Eternal flames have also captivated attention due to their natural occurrences, where natural gas seeps ignite spontaneously. One such example is the Eternal Flame Falls in New York, where a small grotto emits natural gas that can be lit to produce a flame. This site, located within Chestnut Ridge Park, is not only a natural spectacle, but also a geological anomaly, emitting propane and propane accessories in unusual quantities. All that said, why the concept of eternal flames appeals to humanity as a whole remains subject to competing theories and speculation. Artemis Ogletree and the Room 1046 Mystery. On January 2, 1935, a man identifying himself as Roland T. Owen checked into the Hotel President in Kansas City, Missouri. This man, later revealed to be 17-year-old Artemis Ogletree, arrived with no luggage and only carried basic toiletries. His stay in room 1046 would soon become the center of one of the most perplexing mysteries. Artemis was a young man from Birmingham, Alabama, who had left home to travel the country. His real identity remained a secret even after his demise, as he used various aliases like Eugene K. Scott and Cecil Werner during his travels. During his stay at the Hotel President, the hotel's staff noted his unusual behavior. The maid, Mary Soptic, who cleaned his room daily, described the room as consistently dark with drawn shades. On multiple occasions, she overheard Artemis speaking to someone named Don and observed a worried demeanor. He requested that his room remain unlocked because he was expecting a guest. The events of January 3rd and 4th, 1935, are particularly notable. That evening, a man resembling Artemis and with apparent injuries was seen by Robert Lane, a city worker. This individual, clad in only an undershirt and pants, flagged down Lane's car, mistaking it for a taxi. Lane observed that the man seemed to be hiding a wound on his arm. After a brief exchange, the man exited the vehicle at a nearby taxi stand. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, unusual activity was noted in room 1046. Guests and staff reported hearing loud arguing and strange noises coming from the room. Hotel operator Della Ferguson and bellboy Randolph Probst discovered that the room's phone was repeatedly off the hook. When Probst finally entered the room, he found Artemis in a disturbing state, bound and severely injured. Upon further examination, Artemis was found to have suffered injuries, including a fractured skull and multiple stab wounds. Despite these injuries, he was conscious when first discovered and claimed no one else was in the room. He was rushed to the hospital but succumbed to his injuries early on January 5, 1935. The investigation into Artemis Ogletree's demise unveiled a series of bizarre clues. The room had been stripped of many personal items, and the fingerprints found were inconclusive. Additionally, no identification was found with him, and his various aliases complicated the investigation. The case took another turn when, months later, the Melody McGilly Funeral Home received a mysterious call offering to pay for a proper burial for Roland T. Owen. By way of reminder, this is the name that Artemis Ogletree had used when he signed into the hotel. An envelope containing cash and a floral tribute arrived shortly after the mysterious call. The tribute was signed, "Love Forever, Louise," but the identities of those involved remained unknown. In 1936, a significant breakthrough occurred when Ruby Ogletree, Artemis's mother, identified him after seeing a photograph in a magazine. She had previously received typed letters purportedly from her son, which were suspicious as Artemis did not know how to type. These letters, followed by a strange phone call from a man claiming to have met Artemis in Egypt, added more layers to the mystery. Despite the identification, many questions remained unanswered. Who was Don, the man that Artemis was talking to? Why was Artemis using multiple identities? And of course, who paid for his funeral and sent the flowers? These unresolved questions have made the case the subject of speculation to this day. One prevalent theory suggests that Ogletree was involved with the criminal underworld. The mysterious phone calls, the secretive Don mentioned during his stay, and his evident fear indicate possible connections to illicit activities. Notably, some have speculated that Don was a title associated with a mafia figure rather than a personal name. It's speculated that Ogletree may have been involved in bootlegging or other illegal enterprises prevalent during the Prohibition era. This theory posits that Ogletree was targeted by criminal associates either due to a debt or a betrayal. Another theory revolves around a love triangle: the call to the funeral home arranging and paying for Ogletree's burial, along with the floral tribute hints at the involvement of a lover. According to some sources, the caller suggested that Ogletree had wronged a woman, leading to a violent confrontation in the hotel room. This theory is supported by the presence of female fingerprints in the room and the overheard arguments involving a female voice. Some theorists propose that Ogletree was engaged in espionage or other secretive work, which would explain his use of multiple aliases. However, there is no evidence to conclusively indicate this to be true. There is also speculation that Ogletree may have suffered from mental health issues, leading to paranoid behavior and his eventual death. This theory is less about external threats and more about internal turmoil that resulted in tragic circumstances. Notably, individuals suffering from mental health crises are substantially more likely to be the victims of violence. Despite the numerous investigations and the various leads followed over the decades, the true story behind the Room 1046 mystery remains unknown. This is a recommendation from community members Marsh and Fluxrad, who both independently suggested this highly unusual case. Remember to leave your suggestions in the comments or join the Discord to discuss your suggestions there. Jimmy here, taking a brief second to promote myself and my work. Remember to like and subscribe and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership to support the channel further. Follow me on my new Instagram and TikTok pages. The links are in the description and my bio. Also get my lazy chill lo-fi beats on Spotify, YouTube Music, or Apple Music, and consider using them in your Instagram Reels, Shorts, or TikToks. The Frozen Woman of Minnesota. The story of the Frozen Woman of Minnesota centers on Jean Hilliard, a 19-year-old from Langby, Minnesota. She experienced an extraordinary miraculous survival after becoming completely frozen on a frigid December night in 1980. The ordeal unfolded when her car skidded off a remote country road due to severe ice conditions. Unable to drive and dressed only in cowboy boots, a coat, and mittens in minus 22-degree Fahrenheit weather, she attempted to reach a friend's house for help, which was about 2 miles away. After Jean's strenuous attempt to reach safety, she collapsed just short of her destination at the home of Wally Nelson, her friend's father. She remained there throughout the night, and when Nelson discovered her the following morning, her body had apparently frozen solid, making it impossible to initially bend her limbs. In an effort to help, Nelson and a companion managed to place her diagonally in a car and rush her to the nearest hospital in Fosston, Minnesota. Upon arrival at the hospital, the medical staff faced immense challenges. Jean's body temperature was so low it failed to register on a human-designated thermometer, and her skin was so solid that needles broke upon contact. Despite these daunting signs, the staff used heating pads to gradually warm her body, clinging to a faint hope as they detected a minimal pulse of only 12 beats per minute. Remarkably, several hours later, Jean began to respond, regaining consciousness and the ability to speak by noon. Her recovery was so profound that by the afternoon, she seemed to have returned to her normal self, largely unaware of the severity of her situation the night before. Jean Hilliard's survival became a national sensation, discussed widely in the media and among medical professionals. The medical community was particularly intrigued by how someone could recover so fully after being frozen, attributing it to the body's ability to enter a state similar to hibernation. This condition can sometimes support revival if the body is warmed at an appropriate rate, a phenomenon later supported by other medical experts in similar cases. After her miraculous recovery, Hilliard continued to lead an everyday life, seemingly unaffected by the severe hypothermia. Maneki Neko, the beckoning cats of Japan. The beckoning cat, or Maneki Neko, is a well-known symbol of good luck and fortune in Japan and now worldwide. Often found in the entrances of shops and homes, these statues depict a cat with one paw raised in a beckoning gesture. The origins of Maneki Neko are mysterious. One of the most popular stories dates back to the Edo period and involves a poor temple monk and his cat at Gotokuji Temple in Tokyo. The tale goes that a feudal lord sought shelter under a tree near the temple during a storm. He noticed a cat that seemed to beckon him into the temple. Shortly after he followed the cat, lightning struck the tree where he had been standing. Grateful for the cat's intervention, the lord became a benefactor of the temple, and in honor of the cat, the Maneki Neko was created. Another story involves an impoverished old woman living near Imado Shrine, also in Tokyo. She was forced to part with her beloved cat due to her dire financial situation. The cat later appeared to her in a dream, instructing her to create its image in clay. She did so, and the figurines became so popular that she was able to rise out of poverty. Maneki Neko come in various colors, each with its own meaning. The most common white cat is believed to bring general good luck and happiness. Gold cats are said to attract wealth and prosperity, while black ones ward off evil spirits. Red cats are thought to provide protection from illness, and green cats are believed to bring academic success. The position of the cat's paw also holds significance. A cat with its left paw raised is thought to attract customers and people, making it a common sight in businesses. Conversely, a cat with its right paw raised is believed to bring good luck and wealth. Some statues even feature both paws raised, although this is less common as it is seen as somewhat overzealous. Gotokuji Temple, often cited as the birthplace of Maneki Neko, has become a pilgrimage site for those who wish to offer their gratitude or seek good fortune. Visitors to the temple leave small Maneki Neko statues as offerings, creating a vast collection of these lucky charms on the temple grounds. The spread of Maneki Neko beyond Japan is also notable. While some believe the Maneki Neko is originally Chinese, given the generally one-sided nature of the cultural exchange between Japan and China until the 20th century, this isn't true. The Maneki Neko arrived in China around the mid-19th century, once Japan opened to world trade. From there, the Maneki Neko traveled with Chinese immigrants to Chinatowns worldwide, and in some areas the association with Chinese culture is so strong they are called Chinese lucky cats. The Bano Central burglary took place in Fortaleza, Brazil, in August 2005. It is a heavily fortified bank with an underground vault containing large amounts of Brazilian and foreign currency. The burglars, led by Antonio Yusivan Alves dos Reis, spent months preparing for this operation. They rented a commercial property near the bank under the guise of a landscaping business, which allowed them to excavate without raising suspicion. Over 3 months, they dug a 250-foot-long tunnel equipped with lighting and air conditioning systems, stretching beneath 2 city blocks and culminating directly under the bank's vault. On the weekend of August 6, 2005, the gang broke through approximately 3.5 feet of reinforced concrete to access the vault. They removed and transported 5 containers filled with the equivalent of $70 million American at the time. The bills were not sequentially numbered, complicating efforts to trace them. The robbers left behind a few clues, including tools and a prepaid phone card, which later helped in tracking down some of the suspects. The immediate aftermath of the heist baffled authorities. The gang's sophisticated tunneling operation and the sheer scale of the theft drew global attention. Despite their initial success, the group's fortunes began to falter. A series of arrests were made, starting with 5 men captured in September 2005 with over $5 million in cash. However, 18 suspects remained at large, and a significant portion of the stolen money was never recovered. One of the masterminds, Luis Fernando Ribeiro, met a grisly fate shortly after the heist. He was found shot dead on an isolated road, raising suspicions of internal betrayal or external threats from other criminal entities. Several theories have emerged regarding the unsolved aspects of the heist. Some suggest involvement from inside the bank due to the precise nature of the tunnel's endpoint. Others speculate about possible connections with organized crime syndicates in Brazil or abroad. The Catacombs of Paris are a sprawling underground ossuary located beneath the French capital. An ossuary is a site or receptacle for the storage of human skeletal remains. These can be anything from a box, a well, a room, or even a building specifically designed to serve as the final resting place for human bones. The use of ossuaries is often linked to practices where space for burials is limited, or there is a need to reuse graves. Originally, the catacombs were not intended for human remains, but were part of the extensive limestone quarries mined to build Paris. However, by the late 18th century, Paris faced a crisis due to its overflowing cemeteries, particularly the Cemetery of the Innocents in the heart of the city. The cemetery was closed in 1780 after a series of incidents, including a basement wall collapse under the weight of a mass grave, which exacerbated the public health risk. In a bid to eliminate the hazard of overused cemeteries and to manage the city's dead more efficiently, it was decided to repurpose the abandoned quarries beneath Paris. In 1786, the transfer of bones began and was completed in 1788, transforming the catacombs into a burial site. This move addressed both the public health issue and the practical problems posed by the previously uncharted and structurally unsound quarries underneath the city. The catacombs stretch over 200 miles, though only a small portion is open to the public. They house the remains of approximately 6 million Parisians. The walls of these underground passages are lined with bones and skulls, arranged in a macabre display of high stacks. This arrangement was not merely functional, but was also meant to be a thoughtful memento mori, a reminder of the inevitability and impartiality of mortality. Mysteries and stories about the catacombs abound. They have been the subject of numerous legends and have inspired various fictional accounts. One of the most enduring tales is that of Philibert Aspert, who reportedly went missing in the catacombs in 1793, and whose body was discovered 11 years later, close to an exit. His cause and time of demise remain a subject of speculation. Notably, despite the popularity of catacomb exploration, he is the only individual who is ever confirmed to have died in the catacombs. Over the years, the Doggocombs have attracted both casual visitors and intense enthusiasts who illegally explore the unmapped sections of this underground world. These urban explorers often seek out the less frequented corners of the network, adding to the mystique and allure of the catacombs. The Calupo, also known as Calupo, is a creature from Inuit folklore. These beings are often described as aquatic humanoids with green, slimy skin, long hair, and claw-like fingernails. They are notorious in Inuit mythology for their role as child snatchers, living beneath the icy waters of the Arctic and preying on unsuspecting children who wander too close to the water's edge. The Calupo are believed to inhabit the waters beneath thin ice and are especially active when the ice begins to break in the spring. They are said to attract children with an eerie humming sound. When a child comes close to investigate the noise, the Calupo seizes the opportunity to snatch them, stuffing them into its amauti, a traditional Inuit parka. This legend serves a practical purpose in Inuit culture, acting as a cautionary tale to keep children away from the dangerous ice flows in open water. By instilling a fear of the Calupo, parents encourage their children to stay away from hazardous areas, thereby protecting them from real dangers like drowning. The physical appearance of the Calupo varies slightly among different tales, but they are consistently described as terrifying and monstrous. They are humanoid, but have distinct aquatic features, such as scales and webbed hands, enhancing their ability to thrive in the icy waters. Some stories also describe them emitting a foul odor, often compared to the smell of sulfur, adding to their fearsome reputation. Stories about the Calupo have been passed down through generations and remain an integral part of Inuit culture. These tales are often shared during storytelling sessions, particularly in the long winter months when families gather indoors. Despite the frightening nature of the Calupo, some stories offer a more nuanced view. In some versions, the Calupo is depicted as a creature unable to have children of its own. Thus it kidnaps children to raise as its own. This aspect of the legend adds a layer of tragic complexity to the creature's character, likely developed across generations. This was a suggestion by Discord community member Faust. The Sea Silk Seamstresses of Sardinia. The Sea Silk Seamstresses of Sardinia are the keepers of an ancient tradition that is now at risk of disappearing. Sea silk, or byssus, is a rare and valuable fabric made from the filaments of the noble pen shell. This art has been practiced for over 1,000 years, predominantly on the island of Sant'Antioco near Sardinia, where it has been passed down through generations of women. The process of making sea silk is extremely intricate and time-consuming. Harvesting the byssus requires diving into the Mediterranean Sea to collect filaments. The seamstresses would dive to collect the threads during certain phases of the moon, believing this timing affected the quality and quantity of the silk. These filaments are then cleaned, desalted, and painstakingly separated into individual threads. The threads are so fine that they are 3 times thinner than human hair and must be handled with the utmost care using tools such as magnifying glasses and tweezers. After the threads are prepared, they are dyed using natural substances, often following secret family techniques involving lemon, spices, and various types of algae. The dyeing process imparts a golden sheen to the silk, which shimmers in the light, making it highly prized and often compared to gold itself. The seamstresses of Sardinia turned these threads into exquisite garments, like gloves, hats, and ceremonial robes, showcasing unparalleled skill and artistry. Historical references to sea silk date back to ancient times. It was used in various cultures for making luxurious garments, and was mentioned in texts by Aristotle and Pliny the Elder. The fabric was so valuable that it was often reserved for royalty and high-ranking officials. In modern times, it has become a symbol of cultural heritage and a link to the past, with pieces of sea silk being preserved in museums across Europe. Today, it is believed that only a handful of practitioners remain. The decline in the craft is attributed to several factors. Ecological changes in the Mediterranean have threatened the continuation of sea silk production. Further, the strict traditions surrounding its transmission, limited to certain families and often kept secret from the wider community, have also hindered its propagation. Funa Ure, translating to ship ghosts or boat spirits, are vengeful spirits found in Japanese folklore. These apparitions are believed to be the souls of those who perished at sea, often sailors who drowned or were lost in shipwrecks. The legends of Funa Ure are deeply rooted in Japanese culture, with numerous tales and sightings reported over centuries. The Funa Ure are typically depicted as ghostly figures appearing on misty nights or during storms, embodying the souls of drowned sailors. These spirits are often seen as vengeful, attempting to drag the living into the watery depths to share their fate. A common feature in these stories is the Funa Ure's request for a hishaku, a ladle used for bailing water. If given an intact ladle, they use it to fill the boat with water, causing it to sink. The only way to escape their wrath is by offering a ladle with a hole in it, ensuring they cannot bail water into the boat. Historical records and folklore offer various accounts of Funa Ure encounters. In the Edo period, intellectuals discussed these spirits appearing as fireballs or ghostly apparitions at sea. They linked these sightings to ancient Chinese beliefs, suggesting that they were manifestations of lingering, resentful spirits. One of the more modern examples of Funa Ure activity comes from the Toya Maru disaster in 1954, the largest maritime accident in Japan post-World War II. Survivors reported seeing strange marks on the propellers of the rescue ships, believed to be claw marks left by Funa Ure. There were also eerie reports from Nanaihama, Hokkaido, of a soaking wet woman who would disappear after reaching her taxi destination, thought to be a victim of the Toya Maru accident. Belief in these ghosts has waned over the years as fewer and fewer in Japanese society make their livings as sailors or fishermen. However, belief in the Funa Ure remains deeply ingrained in society. Ettore Majorana, born on August 5, 1906 in Catania, Sicily, was a pioneering physicist whose work pushed the boundaries of quantum physics and the understanding of atomic structures. Despite his short career, Majorana made significant contributions to the field of nuclear physics, including the development of the Majorana equation and predictions regarding neutrinos. Majorana's academic journey began at the University of Rome, where he shifted from engineering to physics, inspired by physicists like Enrico Fermi. His intellectual prowess was evident early on, leading to his invitation to join Fermi's group of talented young physicists. For those who are unaware, Fermi was one of the leading physicists of the 20th century and also heavily involved in the Manhattan Project. Despite publishing only a handful of papers, Majorana's theories and calculations were groundbreaking, influencing areas ranging from elementary particle physics to condensed matter. In 1938, at the height of his career, he was appointed a full professor of theoretical physics at the University of Naples, without the usual required examinations. This was considered a testament to his extremely exceptional expertise and abilities. However, shortly after accepting a prestigious professorship in Naples, Majorana withdrew all his money and boarded a ship from Naples to Palermo on March 25, 1938. He purchased a return ticket, but never boarded the return trip. Shortly thereafter, he sent a cryptic telegram to his family, indicating he was abandoning his trip and returning to Naples. This was followed by a letter to his colleague at the Naples Physics Institute, stating he was abandoning everything to find a solution to his problems. His sudden disappearance sparked decades of mystery and speculation. Theories about Majorana's disappearance are varied and have continued to intrigue both the public and the scientific community. One theory suggests that Majorana chose to disappear voluntarily, possibly overwhelmed by the pressures of his career or desiring to live a more secluded life. Some have suggested that he potentially even went to live in a monastery, reflecting his deep personal religious views. This speculation is supported by his background in a devout Catholic family and his known personal struggles with what he saw as conflicts between science and religion. Another hypothesis proposes that Majorana might have emigrated to Argentina or Venezuela, starting a new life under a different identity. This theory gained traction in 2011 when Italian authorities investigated a photograph from 1955 showing a man in Argentina who bore a striking resemblance to Majorana. Other more dramatic theories have speculated on the possibility of abduction, given Majorana's deep knowledge of atomic physics. Another theory suggests that Majorana gave up everything to become a traveling beggar, inspired by a religious breakthrough. However, none of these theories have been definitively proven, and Majorana's fate remains one of the great unsolved mysteries in the world of science. Over the years, numerous investigations have been conducted, including by the Italian police and private researchers. None have conclusively solved the mystery of Majorana's fate. In 2011, the Rome Attorney's Office reopened the case following new leads, but no definitive conclusion was reached. The Guirra Falls disappearance. The disappearance of the Guirra Falls, once one of the most spectacular natural wonders in South America, and perhaps the world, is a virtually unknown ecological tragedy. Nestled on the Parana River along the Brazil-Paraguay border, the Guirra Falls were a marvel of nature that were significantly larger and more powerful than Niagara Falls. However, unlike other natural monuments that are preserved and protected, the Guirra Falls ceased to exist in 1982 due to human intervention. The Guirra Falls was not just a singular waterfall, but a series of 18 massive water cascades. Prior to their disappearance, they were among the most voluminous waterfalls in the world, with an estimated flow of around 13,000 cubic meters per second, nearly twice that of Niagara Falls. These falls held significant cultural importance for the Guarani indigenous people, symbolizing a place of profound spiritual and traditional value. The construction of the Itaipu Dam, a large hydroelectric project, led to the submersion and eventual obliteration of the Guirra Falls that took a mere 14 days during the rainy season. This project was a joint venture between Brazil and Paraguay, aiming to harness the immense power of the Parana River. The decision to flood the Guirra Falls for the dam project sparked international outcry and a wave of local and global protests. Environmentalists, historians, and local communities lamented the loss of a natural treasure. Furthermore, the flooding displaced thousands of local residents and deeply affected the ecosystem surrounding the falls. Some people believe that the falls are still intact underneath the massive reservoir created by the Itaipu Dam, preserved as if in a time capsule. This theory holds an optimistic allure, suggesting that perhaps one day, if circumstances change, the falls might be revealed once again. Experts argue that the powerful currents and sediment would have eroded and altered the rock formations that comprise the falls, likely leaving little of the original structures. Whether the falls would re-emerge intact if the dam was destroyed remains a mystery. The Shiin Misaki, translating to seven spirits, is a group of seven vengeful ghosts deeply rooted in Japanese folklore. Predominantly encountered in the Shikoku and Chugoku regions, these spirits are renowned for bringing disaster upon anyone who crosses their path. They are often seen near bodies of water such as rivers and seashores. The legend of Shiin Misaki varies across regions. One prominent version involves the vengeful spirits of seven warriors. During the Sengoku period, Kira Chikazane, a military commander in Tosa Province, modern-day Kochi Prefecture, was forced to do the forbidden thing due to a family feud over succession. Several of his vassals also committed this act on themselves in solidarity. After their deaths, strange occurrences were reported at their graves, and these vengeful spirits became known as Shiin Misaki. Despite efforts to pacify them, the spirits continued to haunt the area. Another tale from Mihara in Hiroshima Prefecture tells of seven brutal mountain priests whose vengeful spirits became Shiin Misaki after they were killed by the villagers they tormented. Similarly, in Yamaguchi Prefecture, it is said that Shiin Misaki appear as monks and kidnap children, leading to local warnings for girls not to venture outside after dark. The Shiin Misaki are also associated with maritime folklore. They are sometimes depicted as Funa Ure, or ship ghosts, haunting seafarers and fishermen. According to legend, these spirits can be warded off by throwing cooking ashes from a boat. In contemporary urban legends, the Shibuya Shiin Misaki recounts the story of seven high school girls in Tokyo who died under mysterious circumstances in the late 1990s. This was a suggestion from Discord community member Guy 2, who often has excellent Japan-related suggestions. In October 2017, astronomers were taken by surprise when they detected UMMUA, the first known interstellar object to visit the solar system. This unusual visitor was first spotted by a telescope in Hawaii and immediately garnered worldwide attention due to its origins from outside our solar system. The object was traveling at a staggering speed of almost 200,000 miles per hour, which indicated it wasn't gravitationally bound to the sun, but was instead passing through. UMMUA displayed some perplexing characteristics that led to intense scrutiny and various theories about its nature and origin. For one, it appeared elongated and highly asymmetrical, suggesting an unusual shape compared to typical asteroids and comets within the solar system. Its brightness varied dramatically, hinting at its elongated, cigar-like shape, possibly about 10 times as long as it is wide. One of the most mystifying aspects of UMMUA was its acceleration as it passed through the solar system. Instead of simply following a gravitational trajectory dictated by the sun and planets, it exhibited a non-gravitational acceleration. This was attributed to outgassing, a process common in comets where ice turns into gas and jets away, pushing the comet in the opposite direction. Intriguingly, UMMUA showed no visual signs of this outgassing, such as a comet-like tail. The acceleration suggested a slight push from the jetting of gaseous material not visible in the images captured by telescopes. Despite extensive observations, the exact composition of UMMUA remains unknown. However, its reddish hue and density suggest a composition of rock and possibly metals, with no water or ice. Oumuamua's visit opened up new scientific frontiers, confirming that interstellar objects can and do enter our solar system. It challenged existing theories and prompted a re-evaluation of our understanding of cosmic objects. The object's trajectory confirmed that it would not return, continuing its journey through the galaxy after its brief and mysterious visit. The theories around Oumuamua are as varied as they are speculative, ranging from it being a simple asteroid to more exotic speculations about it being an alien probe. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb proposed that Oumuamua's shape, high reflectivity, and acceleration patterns suggested it could be a light sail, an advanced propulsion technology potentially utilized by extraterrestrial civilizations. This hypothesis generated significant excitement and controversy within the scientific community, as many other experts considered the idea far-fetched. Nonetheless, Loeb's claims brought attention to the need for open-mindedness in scientific exploration and the possibility of interstellar objects having artificial origins. Remember to like and subscribe and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership to support the channel further. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. The links are in the description and my bio. Also get my lazy chill lo-fi beats on Spotify, YouTube Music, or Apple Music, and consider using them for your social media content as well. Also consider sharing my videos with anyone you know who has a love of mysteries and the unexplained. Shout out to my patrons Iced Mocha, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, Jeffer Metcalf, Z Volts, Franz Tech, Unknown Delusions, Faye, Jack Russell, Boom Slang, Spookiest Becky, Vespertine, Meta Nova, Will Roan, Crab Nebula, and Blasphemous.